r/AskReddit. What's the dumbest reply to a serious question you've heard?
In physics there's something called the right-hand rule, which helps you find the direction of force given the direction of the magnetic and electric fields. It's a little hard to explain how exactly, but you literally use your right hand as a model. My professor asked me in front of the CBUT what the first thing you needed to identify in order to use the rule was. I panicked, and answered your right hand.
I was on a job and we needed to have a structural engineer to come in and look at one of the floors to make sure it was stable enough. So we asked the owner's daughter, who was supposedly a business major who was gonna take over her dad's company, if she had a contact number for the structural engineer her dad normally dealt with when having his buildings renovated. She looks at the three of us, me, my assistant superintendent and project manager, and goes, "Oh yeah. But he's busy working on my car at the moment." All three of us, "What? Her, yeah, he's working on my engine in my car. Why do you guys need him? Engineers work on engines, not buildings. WTF.
It was actually me who said the dumb reply. This was when I was younger, just by the way. Texted to me by a friend, "Can I take a rain check?" A few minutes later, I text back, "Nope, no rain." I had literally checked the weather for the day. I was a socially awkward idiot, so, yeah.
At the start of 2020, a volcano erupted in Batangas, a province in the Philippines. Affected my hometown, which fudging Ed, what does our president suggest doing against the eruption? Give supplies. Help in the evacuation of the people stuck there. Provide relief and support. No. You want to know the answer? His words, not mine. I will urinate on the volcano. Good job, President.
Me writing a construction bid. Is the standard flooring for these units going to be tile or vinyl? The client, yellow.
In school, a physics teacher had asked one of my fellow students, who was holding a presentation on nuclear energy, what is the Hadron Collider in Switzerland used for? The response was so outrageously stupid, I was dumbfounded and cannot believe this happened to this day. She also wasn't joking. Nobody jokes with this teacher because no one had ever seen him laugh and he was a douche. To create a second sun.
Traveling in car down a street looking for a particular shop queue. So which shop is it? The one by the tree. Road is lined with trees.
Doctor to mum, are you vaccinating your son? About 1 year, according to the chart I gave you? Mum, better than that. I am breastfeeding him. This was in India last year. Didn't know this was happening in India too.
Wind doesn't come from the trees?
In law school we had a free clinic for low enough people to come in. We couldn't technically advise them because we weren't barred yet, but we could guide and try to help them through some complex issues they might not have a handle on. One guy came in and wasn't even my case but being done by CBUT mate next to me during a session. The man, dead-faced and scared, would filing for bankruptcy ruin my life? Girl, flustered how to answer, well, it looks like your life is already pretty bad.
Q. Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the US on a world map. Why do you think this is? A. I personally believe that US Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the US should help the US or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children. Asked my ex-boss, alcoholist POS, if he knew how to do X thing on the system and could show me. He replied with yes and went home. Just a yes and left.
It wasn't a reply to a serious question, but I once had a sailboat with the dumbest girl I've ever seen. Every day was something new. The things she would say, completely seriously, would blow your mind. My favorite statement she made, which to this day has never been topped, is, "It's really strange how the lights flicker every time I blink." I will never forget the look on the guy's face who was sitting next to her. It was the most concerned, confused, horrified, and angry look. We all waited for like a punchline or a laugh, but she just sat there and stared at us in silence. Took her a few minutes before she realized how outrageously dumb that statement was. One time my friends and I were hanging out in his apartment. All of a sudden I hear a whoosh and look over at my friend and his hair is on fire. We get it out quickly and I asked him what the heck just happened. He told me, "I was trying to listen to the sound the lighter made when I flicked it."
Hey, Yogi, what time is it? You mean now? Works in IT. During a meeting at work, project manager, okay, so how should we name this tension? Silence. Random guy in the back, Susan.
We were discussing about Antarctica and some guy casually said, "You don't actually believe Antarctica is a real place, right?"
In 11th grade English Seabut. What the fudge is a syllable?
Q. What's a street name that starts with N? A. Notorious B.I.G.
In a high school world history CL but. Teacher, alright everyone, we will be covering the Reformation period. Who knows why Martin Luther was significant? Student, blurting out without raising hand, Martin Luther. Isn't that the guy who freed all the slaves? This one holds a special place for me because it is multiple layers of wrong.
Heard at a Chinese takeout restaurant. Is the orange chicken pork? Best part? She was dead serious.
How many is a Brazilian?
I used to work a video rental store that has since closed down. First week I worked there, a person asked, in store mind you, if we rented out movies. I didn't know what to do, other than just with a stone faced and said yes, of course we do. I wasn't sure if they were serious or not.
Is a chicken a bird? The girl was 17 when she asked this.
A middle school music teacher asked the Kulbut why it's called a quarter note. One kid, quite seriously, replied, because they're worth 25 cents each.
Astronomer here. Maybe not quite what Op had in mind, but it is depressing how many people will ask me a serious question about, say, black holes, head the explanation, and then dismiss it with a yeah, but I don't believe in relativity or whatever theory they dislike. Like, okay, I guess you can believe in whatever you want, but the universe isn't going to conform to that in how it works. And it goes without saying that these people have very rarely taken an actual physics CL book and understand what they are dismissing. They've just read some articles online and think they're now experts.
5 years ago I asked my now girlfriend on a date. Stupidly she said yes. Now she's stuck with me.
Hope this story fits here. I helped a friend, Bob, get hired working in the back room of a retail store. I was good friends with the manager, Tim, and I would periodically check in to see how Bob was doing. I was a manager as well at the time at a different location. Tim was very pleased with Bob's work ethic and productivity. I talked to Bob and he said he was enjoying the job. After about 5 or 6 months I got a call from Tim asking if I've talked to Bob recently. I replied no and asked if everything is okay. Tim informed me that Bob has been a no-call, no-show for about a week and he was worried about him. I immediately called Bob to see what was going on. Bob informs me that he decided to quit the job. In utter dismay and confusion I shout, "What? Why? I vouched for you. Why would you do that without at least giving me a heads up?" He replied, "Man, every time someone new gets hired they put them with me to train them and that's not my job." Technically he was right, it wasn't his job to train new hires, but what Bob didn't know is managers did things like this to groom the buttociate into becoming a supervisor, gradually giving them more responsible over time. They did the same thing with me when I was coming up the ranks. He would have known this if he had called me before he decided to quit. Once I explained I could hear the wires connecting in his brain. He apologized and asked if he could get his job back. I told him probably not since he left the way he did. Just because it's not your job now doesn't mean it won't be your job in the future. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe and smack that bell icon to stay up to date on our videos. See you next time.